In this video, we're going to show you how to set up the 20-foot smart camera. First, let's start with a network overview. In the press box, you're going to have a bridge antenna that links to the Sideline and Endzone bridge antennas. You're also going to have an iPad antenna. This is the antenna that all the iPads in the press box will connect to. If you're doing press box replay, you'll have an orange edge replay box as well. On the Sideline, you're going to have a bridge antenna that links to the press box bridge, and you're going to have another iPad antenna. This is the antenna that all the iPads on the Sideline will connect to. And in the Endzone, you're going to have another bridge antenna that links to the press box bridge, and you're going to have your smart camera head, which gives you your Endzone replay view. The first thing you want to do is set up your press box components. You want to get your network bag, which will have your press box, Sideline, and Endzone networking equipment. So you want to take out the press box bridge and tripod first, open up the zip pocket on the inside of the network bag and get two antennas, and then grab your press box iPad antenna and screw on the two antennas. Once you have your press box bridge antenna and iPad antenna out of the bag, you're done with the network bag for this location. The next step is to grab the press box hard case and open it up. Inside, everything is already pre-configured and plugged in. You'll just need to take the extension cord out and plug that into power. After you plug that extension cord into power, your orange edge box will start to boot up, as well as the router. You can then connect your HDMI cable to the edge box in the left HDMI port, the one that says connect camera, and then the other end into your press box camera. The next thing you're going to do is take the press box bridge tripod out and open it up. Then you're going to plug in the press box bridge into the router, into one of the black ports. Either one works. Then you're going to raise up the tripod so the antenna is above all obstructions. If you need to put the press box bridge on top of your press box or somewhere else, then you can use a longer Ethernet cable to run it into the router. The next step is to aim the press box bridge in between the 50-yard line and where you're going to set up your Endzone camera. Next, you'll want to level the antenna. Once it's leveled, you're done. The next step is to grab the press box iPad antenna. This antenna needs to be in the same room as the coaches. You can suction it on the inside of the window. You'll need to move the small antennas to 45 degrees. If for some reason your coaches are not in the same room as the router, you'll need to use a longer Ethernet cable and then plug that into the router into the other black port. Once everything's set up, you will see the Ethernet 3 and Ethernet 4 PoE lights will be solid, the power light will be solid, and the link lights will be flashing on Ethernet 2, 3, and 4. Connected to the blue dot, you're going to have your edge box. That should have already been connected. If not, please connect it. You have the power cable going to the power strip for the edge box. Then you've got an HDMI cable from the edge box on the left HDMI port all the way up to your press box camera. Going back to the case, coming out of the router, you're going to have the two antennas, the black cables, and they're going to run over to your press box iPad antenna as well as your press box bridge antenna. Again, the bridge antenna needs to be clear of obstructions and be able to be line of sight of the other bridge antennas on the Sideline and the Endzone. The next step is to set up the Sideline components. You'll have your same network bag that you had in the press box. First thing you'll want to do is open up the network bag and get the other tripod out. It'll have the bridge antenna and iPad antenna for the Sideline. It'll be labeled for you. You'll open up the tripod and you're going to place this at the 50-yard line. You're going to open up the zip pocket again and grab the other two small antennas and screw those on to the Sideline iPad antenna. Put the small antennas at 45 degrees. Next, you're going to open up your Sideline hard case. Inside is a battery and a switch. You're going to turn the battery on by pressing the power button for a good 10 seconds until the power light comes on the switch. Once the light's on, you can go ahead and plug in both of your antennas into either of the black ports. You're now going to raise the tripod to as high as you can. And you're going to aim the bridge antenna up to the press box. Be sure to point the antenna right at the press box antenna and aim it at an angle. And you're also going to want to level the antenna as well. Once it's leveled, you're good to go. After a couple minutes, the Sideline bridge will link up with the press box bridge, and you should see 4 lights on the side of it. If you see less than 4 lights, then you need to readjust. Now it's time to set up the Endzone components. First, grab your 20-foot tower. You're going to loosen the top knob and then spread open the tripod legs. You may need to lift the tower up and push down on the top collar to spread the legs fully. Next, you're going to loosen the bottom knob and let the pole slide until it hits the ground, and then tighten each knob. Next, open up your Endzone hard case. You're going to find 3 color-coded cables that go to the smart camera's battery. The battery is already fastened to the smart camera head. You're also going to have about a foot-long HDMI cable that's going to go from the blue box to the camera. Permanently attached is going to be the zoom cable and the camera. Please leave those on at all times. Next, you have the Endzone battery and its charger, followed by the charger for the smart camera battery. You also have some rain gear, which consists of a lens hood and a waterproof cover. You're going to have an extra HDMI cable. Please bring that to every game. And you're going to finally have your Ethernet cable that runs from the smart camera down the pole to the antenna. Also inside the case should be some instructions. The first step from the hard case is to take out the smart camera head. You're going to take it over to your tower and screw it onto the thread. Be sure not to cross thread this. If it goes on really tight, then back out and start again. It should be pretty smooth. It's going to take a few revolutions to get it on there, and just make sure it's nice and tight so the pan tilt can spin. Once it's on there, go ahead and plug in the 3 color-coded cables. You're going to have your yellow cable, which controls the motors. Your blue cable, which powers up the computer inside. And then you have the white cable, which powers up the camera. Once you have those in, go ahead and hit the power button on the battery, and you should see the blue lights light up on the battery. Once you have the smart camera on the pole and you have the color-coded cables connected to the battery, go ahead and hook up the HDMI cable from the camera to the blue box. It's going to plug in the blue box on the port that says Connect Camera. It's going to be found on the left side. The next step is to connect the Ethernet cable. The most important part is using the strain relief. Use the carabiner strain relief and hook it onto the pan tilt. Next, plug in your Ethernet cable to the back of the smart camera until it clicks. Next, you're going to go to the network bag and grab the final bridge antenna out of it. It should say Endzone on it. Then you're going to clamp that to the tripod of your tower and aim it up to the press box. Now you're going to grab the PoE injector that has the antenna already plugged into it and plug that into your battery. Then you're going to press and hold the power button until the battery comes on. This will then power your antenna. The next step is to grab the other end of the Ethernet cable that connects from your smart camera, plug that into the PoE injector into the blue port. If there's going to be bad weather, then you can tuck the components inside the case, move the cables to the front, and gently shut the lid. Do not latch because that could damage the cables. Now let's go back to the Endzone bridge and make sure it's level and fully aimed to the press box. After about 2 minutes of it being powered on, you should see 4 blue lights on the side of it. That means it linked up to the press box bridge. If you see less than 4 lights, you need to readjust the antenna. Before you raise your tower, be sure to connect to the Sideline iPad antenna and make sure that everything is working properly. When it's time to raise, loosen the knob, raise each pole section with 2 hands on the pole at all times, tighten the knob, and lock in the Ethernet cable. Continue to raise each pole until you reach the desired height.